Continuing in Hilchos Shabbos, we're talking about hiring, or the more accurate, the prohibition to hire someone that's not Jewish to do work for you on Shabbos, even though he doesn't have to keep Shabbos, but you ask him to do it for you, he is your representative and he's like your messenger, and therefore it's not allowed to be done. The exceptions that we said was if he's an independent contractor or he's leasing something from you in cases where it's normal to lease those type of stuff, or he's doing something which is not attached to the ground. So he's taking it off-site, or he could take it off-site. And we're not concerned that someone may see it and misunderstand that he's a contractor thinking he's an employee, and then think, oh, you're allowed to hire someone to do work for you on Shabbos, which of course is not allowed. We then got into a little bit into partnerships, that we have to make sure that you're not getting any benefit or any reward, any payment from work that's being done on Shabbos on your behalf or for you. There's more to this topic, a lot more, but much of it applies to if you're doing a partnership or if you are doing some type of large business or a factory or things that have to be open 24/7, how to deal with that. I just want to cover one more halacha on this topic because it's relevant, and then we'll get on to more of the halachas that apply to Erev Shabbos. And that is Shlichas Igeres Aydei Goy Erev Shabbos. Someone asked yesterday this particular question: are you allowed to send a letter through a non-Jew right before Shabbos starts? Now, we discussed an example that if you're going to a tailor and you tell him, fix my clothes, fixing your clothes is something which he's doing for you. And he may do it on Shabbos, especially if the tailor closes Friday at 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. and he's closed on Sunday and you're picking it up on Monday morning or Saturday night, he's doing it for you on Shabbos. So we said the reason why, or the scenario where it would be allowed, is if you give him to him, number one, there's a set price, or he made up a price with you how much he's charging you. So he's doing it for the project, for the job, not for time. I'll see how long it takes him. If it takes me an hour, I'll charge you this amount. You set up a time amount with him, and he could do it before Shabbos. You gave it to him an hour before Shabbos. You're picking it up an hour after Shabbos. The fact that he prefers to work during the day, or he prefers to run his machinery during the day, that's his choice. He doesn't have to do it for you on Shabbos itself. When it comes to sending letters, and it takes an X amount of time to get from point A to point B, what do? Could you send a letter Erev Shabbos? So he says like this: Aleph, mutar l'shleach igeres eshar chveitzim. You're allowed to send a letter or other objects biyad goy. Afilu Erev Shabbos samach l'chashecha. Even if it's Erev Shabbos Friday and it's close to Shkia, it's getting dark outside. There is not enough time to bring that letter, deliver the letter before Shabbos starts. If you established, you made up the amount of money, how much you're charging, take this letter from me. I'm giving you whatever it is today, 47 cents, 49 cents, to send this letter and bring it there. Then it's fine. Once you said, here's 47 cents, 49 cents, do this, send this letter for me, he's not doing it for you anymore. He's doing it for the payment. And because he's doing it off-site for the payment, not based on time, but based on this project of how much it costs to send a letter or the weight or whatever it is, he doesn't come across as being your representative. And because he's not your representative, that's fine.
So you can put a piece of mail in the box before Shabbos.
Right, because the price there, the payment is for the stamp.
On Shabbos? No.
On Shabbos you can. Other issues with from one Rishos to the other. Before Shabbos, right. Now, in the footnote here, he brings interestingly that in our days, when it's a different process, you don't go to a person and say, okay, how much is it to send this parcel to the next town? But you put it in a mailbox. And you're sure that the next pickup is tomorrow through 12 p.m. He's going to pick it up tomorrow. It's still okay because A, you're not forcing him to do it on Shabbos. It's not for sure that he's going to do it on Shabbos. That's the scheduled time, but it's his choice. The mailman is deciding, or the post office is deciding, that's when they want to do pickup. Can they do it tomorrow night? Yeah. Could they do it right before it gets dark? The scenario here is that it's really close to Shkia. But technically, although you know when they want to and when they're scheduled to, I paid to get this letter there. The fact that you want to do it tomorrow, again, midiraisa, there's not a problem to ask a non-Jew to do a malacha for you. It's a takana from Rabbanon, it's a rabbinic enactment in order that we should not be lenient about Shabbos. And we're very strict about this rabbinic enactment. But when did they make this takana? Only in certain cases. In a case where he doesn't look like he's your shliach, he's not your representative, doesn't apply.
And if you're asking them to send you and you're not paying in it?
You're asking them to send you something and they're paying. You also have the option that they could do whatever they want. If you're asking them to do it to you and you're asking them right before Shkia, and you're telling them, put this in the mailbox now, it probably would be an issue. It's a very hard scenario to have. That
You're telling them, like, send it overnight, so it's a problem.
It's a problem.
So overnight, he's going to talk about it. There's two opinions, and it's better to be careful. But in order to get to that, he says another qualification. You can't tell him, do me a favor, not a mailbox. You come to a person, you say, take this envelope, deliver it to this and this town tomorrow. Or please, tomorrow, you have time, take it for me there tomorrow. Because you're telling him, do this work for me on Shabbos, that's already a problem. He's your representative, he's your shliach. You should also not tell him, you can't tell him, make sure that it gets delivered by Sunday or by Monday. Because now you're being very specific, and he may need to travel on Shabbos in order to fulfill your request.
Can't go out of Shabbos to deliver a package and the next day deliver.
Okay, so here's what he says. We'll get to that harder in a second. What he's saying is, if you're telling him, I need this delivered by Monday, and you know that the distance that it takes, even to fly there, he doesn't have to go ground mail. He could decide to send it on a plane, which very often the local stuff is not by plane. He's choosing to do it, to drive, because it's cheaper for him or whatever. But if it's in a scenario where the only way to get it there is by traveling on Shabbos, and you insist, you told him, I need this by Saturday morning, 10 a.m., there's a problem. Now, in the footnote, he qualifies. He says, based on this, an urgent letter, a mivrak, or some kind of telegram, in this case, it means like an overnight parcel, also even out of Eretz Yisrael, which most of the mailmen are not Jewish, and it's a
No one's
fair
willing
assumption.
to get when you're sending matzahs for Yom Tov. It was really
So he's going to say it like this: if dealing with it is going to require Chilul Shabbos, then there's a problem. Remember, the problem here is, or the only solution here is, because you're not telling him do it for you on Shabbos. If you were telling a guy, do this for me on Shabbos, that's a problem. And if you're giving it to them and saying, here's whatever the cost it is, I need this to deliver tomorrow by this and this time. If you gave it to him on Friday morning and he has enough time to get there, that maybe might be okay. But if you're coming right before Shkia and you're saying, I need this, that's an issue.
So what if it's like in the post office, it doesn't usually say next day. It says 1 to 2 days or 1 to 3 days.
That's fine.
Then it's okay.
No problem. That's the main part what he's
That's
saying.
the main part.
But if you came close to Shkia and you need it the next day and you're paying for that,
Guarantee next day.
Right.
That's the problem.
it's not only guarantees. That you're sending a next day mail.
We used to get matzah from the Rebbe right before Yom Tov and get it on Yom Tov.
Okay, so there's a tatum for it. He says tzedach gadol, you could be mekel. I guess that's a tzedach gadol. Maybe tzedach mitzvah. Tzedach gadol, it's really important. Gadol, yesh lahakol, you could be lenient. Also, if you're not sure it's going to be handled on Shabbos, maybe they're closed on Saturdays. I just need it there by Sunday or Monday. He points to a sefer that talks about this at length. With Starim Shetsuin of the Sefer Shemar Shabbos Kol there is references other places to look at it. Now, practically speaking, when you're ordering something on Amazon, for example, they could bring it to you today if they want to. They're deciding, not for sure.
Depends where's the package. No?
Depends.
Where's the package?
If they want to fly tomorrow.
California, not for sure it will be. If the package is here in the warehouse in Illinois somewhere, yeah.
Okay, fine. So let me correct that. Thank you. If you know that it's impossible to get it before Shabbos, it's better not to request tomorrow. Now, are you requesting tomorrow?
Yeah.
What, Prime? You're not. If you're a Prime member and they give it to you, it's their choice.
You can get it tomorrow.
I'm paying you to bring it tomorrow. I'm fine to getting it on Tuesday.
You paid it in advance.
How many times do you not get it?
I
How
don't
many
know if that
times
will
when
go
it
into
says
the
next day you
category.
don't get it?
You know what? Let me do homework on this because it's a very relevant question.
No,
No, really, what?
but I'm saying, so many times when you say prime, it says next day. It doesn't come next day. It's estimated we'll get you next day. If it was a guarantee to give you money back, there's been countless times I've said next day. I haven't gotten you next day.
Okay.
You can't. There's no. It's not a
So
guarantee.
let's look at the principle, and I'll look into this more. But let's look into the principle behind it. He can't be your representative, and he has to have the opportunity. In other words, he's doing it for the money, the price, and he has to have the ability to do it before or after. If you order Friday morning or Thursday after 10 p.m., it's their problem. They don't want to work at night, but he could. Or I don't need it tomorrow. And this is maybe questionable because you paid for the membership because you're kind of asking for it tomorrow. I don't know if that really forces it.
Otherwise, you wouldn't order it today and Friday. You know you're ordering it to Friday because you're going to get it tomorrow.
I need it for Monday. The fact is, all these types of products.
Don't use Prime.
No, whatever. But very often it's just automatic. It's it's part of your membership. But again, the principle here is you can't tell him clearly, do this for me on Shabbos. And when it comes to mail or packages,
It's his choice.
he has to have the opportunity to do it. And he says, if it's really urgent, there is what to be lenient on. We had this discussion earlier. We're not with the avid people, right? We try to do things the best way possible. Okay. The next simon is about going in on ships and boats within 3 days, 4 days from when Shabbos is. We're not going to do that now. Let's go to Simon Reish Mem Tes, page Nun Tes.
It's important for cruise.
Okay, so let's do it separately because there's many elements here.
So again, if you're not paying for it, it's okay.
If you're not paying for it, no, you have to pay for it. Pay for what?
Possibly you have to pay.
No, you have. If you're not paying specifically, it should be next day, and he could do it. Sorry, 3 levels here. You have to be paying for it. In other words, I'm not. Today doesn't apply because you're always paying just for the shipment. Now, I'm not telling you specifically tomorrow, so I'm not paying for it for tomorrow. I paid for the product. I paid for shipping, or I didn't pay for shipping. Whenever it comes, it comes. But if you're saying I must have it by tomorrow, then you have an issue. You can be
If you
making.
choose next day delivery, if you order by now, you'll get it next day. It's still not a guarantee that he's still doing it on his ability.
So I think this is an exception. I think usually you're getting next day if you ask for next day.
I had a lot of times when I haven't.
But if you did it Thursday afternoon and they tell you if you order by 6, you'll get it on Friday. If not, you're getting it later. And they could give it to you earlier.
Yes, I see.
It's their decision. They can get on the plane right now and bring it to you.
So we're talking about getting online right before Shabbos and ordering from Amazon, where
Correct.
and instead of order right now and it'll come tomorrow.
Right.
So that you're saying is a shot.
Let's also keep in mind that part of the takana here was that it shouldn't be kal in our eyes. If you think, just ask someone else to do it for me, it leads to other things as well. We're not careful about Shabbos and these type of stuff. You have to be really stringent with what Chazal said. It's not whatever, bakam tzerach gadol. There is tzerach gadol, it exists, but it shouldn't be taken lightly.
So maybe having matzahs for Seder might be so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you can't get it before, usually you could arrange it before.
I just want to make sure.
Matzah from
That's
the
what I
Rebbe
did. I
is-
Matzahs.
Okay, Dini Erev Shabbos, Simon Reish Mem Tes. These are very important halachas, how we're supposed to behave Erev Shabbos. A person is not allowed to go from the beginning of the day more than 3 parsayos, which is a measurement from the beginning of the day, which means if you get up really early in the morning and you say, I'm going on a trip now, the distance, and we'll soon see that it doesn't fully apply today, but the distance of what you're going in that, and this Friday should not be more than 3 parsayos. Why? You want that you should be able to arrive at your destination where there's enough time to prepare for Shabbos. Don't roll in 5 minutes before Shkia and then you're not going to have time to prepare for Shabbos. Or if you're staying by someone else, you're putting them in a tough spot because you don't have food for Shabbos. So don't travel too far on Shabbos without having the ability, as we'll soon see, give them notice if they know you're coming or they expect you. It's different. If you're going on a horse, or in today's day we're going with a car, you could go even more than 3 parsayos. Because you could still get to your place, wherever you're going to be for Shabbos, while there's still a
A reasonable time.
reasonable amount of time during the day to take care of it. Unless you should not go more than, if you're going by foot, you shouldn't go more than these 3 parseis. Okay. Now, the point again is like this. You need to prepare for Shabbos in order to have a proper Shabbos. Don't arrive before Shkia unless you made up with somebody that they're going to prepare for you. Back then, you show up in someone's house, they don't expect you, and now they don't have food for Shabbos for you, or you don't have enough time, the ability to prepare. If you're going to your own house, you're on a business trip, you're coming home, or you're going to someone else's house as a guest, it's known to his family or wherever you're going. You sent a telegram back in the day. You said, I'm coming tomorrow. Expect me. Because of whatever, I may be arriving last minute, but I'm going to arrive. You sent them a messenger, or today you sent a message, you called, that you're going to arrive. Before you left, you said, I'm coming back next Friday. You could travel all day, it's fine. Because again, the reason here is it should be properly prepared for Shabbos. This is not talking about getting stuck. That's a different issue. In our times, this is a beautiful thing. Most people that are preparing for Shabbos, they prepare extra. It's not, okay, we're going to have 2 challahs and some extra food. These days, we're not even careful about that, because if you show up in your house or at someone else's house, the chances that your mamish have nothing to eat on Shabbos is, Baruch Hashem, unlikely. Huh? What a 6. A wise person, he thinks ahead. Persons in general should not travel great distances with very little amount of time, but especially on a plane, because of a different reason. You shouldn't get stuck in the way. Some unanticipated issue. You know, on the planes they say, small problem, tiny issue, small delay. You should not end up with that. You shouldn't come to Hilchos Shabbos. Okay, so yes, today we can be more lenient because people prepare, but don't plan on arriving with a flight, especially with a flight or even a car. You're traveling somewhere in a distant place. You get stuck, some unanticipated problem. Like the weather delays. How many flights were delayed in Chicago yesterday? Today? Canceled. And if this was a Friday in the winter and you're traveling late, food you'll have, but you may not be there to eat it. Let's stop here for Ma'ariv. I will, Mitzvah Shem, get back to you about the mailing. I'm sure there's many more details here. How to properly do it.
It's a good way to be patient to come back.
Absolutely.